Okay, so today we'll be talking about why Apple products look so good. You're probably taking a look at your iPad, your Mac, your iPhone, and wondered why these Apple products look so good. You just thought in your mind, wow, this looks so good. Now, most people will think that it's because Apple is obviously overglazed and overhyped, and that gives a perspective of them probably being better than others. But really, it just comes down to four things. The first is intentionality, the second is CMF identity, the third is unibody integrity, and the fourth is tactile physics. So we'll be talking about the four of them in this video, and if that sounds interesting to you, stick around till the end of the video. So when you look at Apple products, you know that Apple didn't just design it for your eyes to see how beautiful it is, but your brain to perceive that it looks good. You see that shape on the right? That's what most phones look like. Rounded corners, clean, it's fine. But here's the problem. When your eyes hit the corner of the phone, it feels a jolt, a tiny visual bump, like when you hit a speed bump at full speed. Now take a look at the shape on the left. That's Apple's squircle. The curve doesn't start suddenly. It eases in continually and gradually. No jolt, no bump, just smooth. In design terms, that's the difference between G1 and G2 curvature continuity. G1 is the regular rounded corners. The corner starts and notice it. Now G2 is Apple's squircle. The curves begins gradually, like the bending of the road before you get to the end of the turn. Now here's why it matters. Nature doesn't produce sharp curves. Rivers bend gradually, pebbles smooth over time, and animals' bodies curve without hard edges. So your brain, which has spent most of his life reading the natural world, finds the G2 more comfortable, and that's because it matches what reality actually looks like. And Apple knew that, so they copied nature, and that's why your brain rewards them every time you pick the device up. In your mind, you don't think the design of these icons look so good. You just think in your mind that this just feels right. And that's intentionality, designing for how your brain works, not just how your eyes see. But here's where it gets interesting, because what if I told you that they apply the same obsession to something that you can't even see, but you can actually feel it? That's a segue to our next point, tactile physics. Most companies think about how your products looks. Apple thinks about how it feels with your fingertips, your hands, and tiny little interactions that you don't even know are happening. For example, the MacBook's hinge. Apple engineers the resistance of the hinge so precisely, which makes the weight of the lid counterbalance or perfectly balance the tension of the spring. So that makes it so that you can even open it with just one finger or even your hands, and it goes to the right angle and it stays there. That little frustration, Apple saw that and spent time engineering it, though most companies have copied it now. But Apple was the first laptop to make it so that you can open a laptop with just one finger. And this doesn't mean that it changes the performance, but it just changes how the product feels in your hands and how it feels to own. And there is the taptic engine. When you press the home button on an older iPhone or you use the Face ID, that vibration you feel, it's not a muzzle buzzing inside the iPhone. It's a sharp, precise physical sensation that has been engineered to feel like a real click. That's not a design trick. It's engineering used as storytelling. They're telling your hand's story and it believes every single word. And that is tactile physics, the art of making technology feel natural rather than mechanical. Now imagine they apply this same level of detail to something as simple as choosing the color of the phone. I know, it sounds basic, but trust me, it changes how you feel about the product you own. Now we're talking about CMF identity, color, material, finish. Most companies just pick a color because probably it looks so nice, and they choose a material or slap on a material because it's affordable and just give it a nice to average finish and they call it a day. But Apple treats CMF as a language, a communication system, that is, a way of saying without words, everything we make belongs together. When Apple releases a color, let's say for example the midnight, the exact shade it's seen across the iPhone, the iPad, the MacBook, and even the AirPods case. So if you own multiple Apple products, they don't just look similar. They look like they were made by the same person on the same day and for the same person. And that's not just coincidence. That's Apple design choice or decision it made even at the color chemistry level. And the finish, it's not paint. Apple uses a process called anodization. Instead of putting the color onto the surface of the material, which chips away, peels off, or even scratches, Apple embeds the color into the metal itself. The color doesn't sit on top of the metal, it lives inside the material, the metal. So after 2 years of use, the MacBook doesn't just look like a scratched paint box. It looks like a scratched piece of colored metal. And that makes a subtle difference between a product that ages and a product that just gets old. Apple's products age with dignity. Most products just get old. All of that, and we've still not talked about what the thing is actually made of. Because that's the last point where everything ties together. And this is one most people would overlook. So the fourth thing we're talking about is unibody integrity. Most phones are assembled together, different parts, different panel, metal frames, glass body, and when they are put together, you can see where they actually meet. They have small gaps, slight flex when you press. The subtle feeling that the product is held together, not just built as one. Apple's unibody philosophy is completely different. Their MacBooks and many of their various products are milled from a single block of aluminium or titanium, are not assembled from different parts, but they are carved from one piece. So let's think about this physically. There are no joints to creak or seams to flex, no separate parts that can come apart over time. So when you pick up a MacBook, the rigidity you feel in your hands, it is as a result of a single piece of material, not just 10 materials pretending or combined together to be one. And when you combine that with anodization, which is just basically embedding the color into the metal, you end up with a product that doesn't just look premium on the one, it looks also premium on the 900. When scratches happen over time on the MacBook or the phones, iPhones, they don't just review cheap paint, but rather they review more of the metal, just more of what the product already is. Your brain registers the quality and your hand registers the density. And that feeling you get, that sense of permanence, is what makes you trust the product even before you turn it on. That is unibody integrity. Now, before I wrap this up, Apple has made some genuinely good products, but I have to say also that they've also made some genuinely terrible products. And that's what this part is about. We saw that in 2016, Apple released a MacBook with a butterfly keyboard, which had a very terrible keyboard, just simple dust on the keyboard, and you find that it's not clicking. It was just a terrible design altogether. Many people complained even at that time, and we can see obviously there were some people that liked the butterfly keyboard, but vast majority of people that used the MacBook at that time hated it, really hated it. And this happened because they prioritized thinness over tactile physics. They abandoned the point 2 that I made, and people felt it immediately. You can also see that even the iPhone 6, which was made in 2015, was tagged the phone that bent. Even without you doing so much, maybe you put the phone probably inside your pocket, or you and now you're trying to bring it out. Most people found that it was a phone that was just easy to bend, and that's because Apple compromised point 4, which is unibody integrity. Now, yes, the lesson we learn. These four things that I just talked about are not just theories, but they are foundational to making a good phone. Remove one of these, and the whole feeling collapses. So why do Apple products look good? It's not hype, it's not the logo, it's not marketing. It's four things working together at the same time. Intentionality, because your brain finds their geometry very comfortable. Tactile physics, because your hand finds the interaction with the font very natural. CMF identity, because your eyes find their colors cohesive. And unibody integrity, because your hand finds their build trustworthy. And remove any of this, and you see that the product stops looking or feeling like Apple. But here's the bigger thing I want to leave you with. The lesson is not just that you should rush to get an Apple product or go and get an Apple product. Is that the little things matter. You can see that Apple focus on little details, little things that stack up to become things that do matter. So it shows itself in the things you do, the later interactions you make, and the things you plan to build. Those little things that you add up, they do stack up and they do matter in the long run. Apple's products feel very, very intentional, even down to the curvature of a corner. So if this video made you see Apple products differently, drop down in this comment section which of the points I made that resonated well with you. So thanks for watching this video. See you in the